they just all seemed perplexed as to why the president of the United States wasn't moving out of shot. For once, footballers weren't kind of putting their hands over their mouths, were they? And you could kind of lip read what they were all saying to each other.
Well, Chelsea are Club World Cup winners. Not sure how many people saw that coming. They qualified, let's not forget, by winning the Champions League 4 years ago. And now they've beaten this year's European champions to lift the trophy. And on top of all of that, a boy from Wythenshawe upstaged the American president. That should happen more often, really, as Trump crashed the trophy celebrations.
So can we call Chelsea world champions, or is the Club World Cup still a bit of a joke? Was all the physical strain worth it in the end? After all, with all the talk of it being a global competition, we end up with Chelsea and PSG, two of the richest and best clubs in Europe. And of course, for Chelsea, there's a project going on, isn't there, here? Does this mean that they are really in the ascent? Should they be considered serious contenders for Premier League and Champions League success next season?
And we've got plenty of Wimbledon to discuss as well. Two champions will join us, Julian and Lloyd Glasspool, who became the first all-British pair to win the men's doubles in almost 90 years. And in a brilliant bit of multimedia cross-promotion, you'll have to guess from our YouTube channel which one of them acted as Novak Djokovic in an advert.
Welcome to the Sports Agents. Hello, Mark.
Hi, Gabby.
Welcome back.
Thank you very much.
Are you all right? You had a good time?
I just had a little week off last week. Went to Italy. I'm just doing lots of non-sporty things at the moment, which feels quite nice in what I would consider a men's football off season, although maybe it isn't really.
No, as we've just discussed there, and I guess we haven't discussed it yet, but we've kind of told you what's coming up on the podcast, and we will be looking at the Club World Cup. But Mark has been supersonic. He's been.
Don't you do it! Don't you do it! There isn't a sports broadcast I haven't seen in the last month that hasn't tried to crowbar Oasis lyrics into it. It could be on Test Match Special. It could be on the Lions coverage of the everything. Everybody's trying to
you were at Heaton Park, which was the homecoming, and I was up in Salford on Friday doing the Spain-Italy game in the Women's Euros. And the hotel that we often use, you don't use it because you live in Manchester, right by Media City there, was packed with Oasis fans. And I felt so envious that I was going in one direction and they were going in the other when we were leaving the hotel around a similar time in the evening. So tell me how good it was.
I had one of the best nights of my life. I was in Barcelona in '99 when United won the European Cup against Bayern Munich, and Saturday night was up there with that for me. Partly the homecoming, and like I am a proud Manc, even though they're from the wrong side of Manchester. And when Liam tried to get everybody to do the Poznan for cigarettes and alcohol, you could see the City fans doing it and the United fans very firmly not doing it and dancing however they wanted to dance. It was. Look, we're middle-aged, aren't we, Gabby? It was so much of your life flashing before
nostalgia,
you for 2.5 hours. Every song you knew. I laughed, I cried. I have I get emotional talking about it now. I have no problem admitting towards the end, and Live Forever and Champagne Supernova that I had tears in my eyes. Just incredible. And the other thing as well, to sort of go away from the emotion, is you talk to so many people about going to see a Manchester band in Heaton Park, and you're expecting it to be a little bit tasty. You're expecting a few glasses of God knows what to fly over your head at some point. And it had none of that. It was the most amazing vibe, family atmosphere. They were incredible. They were just slick as anything. And I saw one person describe it as like being at a football match when everybody's team is winning. That's such a great way.
Pep was there on Friday, wasn't he?
Pep was there on
Friday. Yeah. And he obviously was with the family. I mean, he's almost the third member, isn't he, of Oasis? I, contrasting that, was very much entrenched in sport last week while you were having a week off. I went to Wimbledon 3 times in 7 days.
Well, can I just say, what amuses me is I've seen you looking so smart and glammed up for every kind of event that you have been to last week, with whether it's the women's Euros or whether it's like Wimbledon, where you have to look really classy to go to Wimbledon. And the only picture I've sent you is me in a Oasis 25 top and a bucket hat, looking like a complete oik.
Well, it was worth dressing up on Saturday because I got to do a Q&A session. I was doing a bit of work ahead of the women's final with Billie Jean King, amongst others. And I have met her backstage at Sports Personality of the Year, but never really sat down and listened to her and had a chat in close confines. And she's remarkable. She really is. And that was a real honor to sit down with her. She was alongside Nikki Doucette, who, of course, we've had on the podcast, and she's the CEO of the WSL. And Lisa Nandy, who you missed last week on the podcast, the Minister for Culture, Media and Sport, Secretary of State, as she described it, which I love, the Minister for everything that makes life worth living. Which I think Wes Streeting told her that as that's what she does, and I think she should rebrand her job. But that was fantastic. Yeah, it was brilliant. But the tennis. Now, interestingly enough, having chatted to Billie Jean King, we then go out and have less than an hour of tennis because there was a complete capitulation by Amanda Azaminova against, of course, Iga Swiatek, who'd never won Wimbledon before, but is a multiple Grand Slam winner. And I don't know, it just felt kind of ironic, really, because what you really want is a very competitive match, and you want it to go to 2 hours, and you want to feel like you're on the edge of your seat, and we never got anything close to that. Now, I'm really lucky because, as I just described there, I've been 3 times this year. I go every year. If you've got tickets to the ballot, you've never been before in your life, and you've wanted them to go and have an hour of tennis it's just awful, isn't it? Really, it's just not. I felt so sorry for people who don't get to go regularly, and that's their one experience of Wimbledon.
I've kind of read and seen so much about that on Saturday, and but I kind of flip it a little bit and go, it's going to happen occasionally. It's just going to happen occasionally, and in some ways, it makes you even more grateful for the classics, because when they come along, you then revel in them and drink them in. And the other thing I think as well is, in some ways, I'm surprised that kind of thing doesn't happen more often in where somebody just, I don't know if you say freezes or is just demolished or whatever
overwhelmed
it is.
on the day.
Overwhelmed. It actually is a sort of lesson in appreciating how many times we don't get a thrashing like that in a whole variety of sports, and how well sportsmen and women do to overcome being overwhelmed or nerves the majority of the time. And occasionally we're just going to get it, aren't we?
The irony is as well, I'd interviewed Steve Peters for my other podcast on Friday. And anybody who's read his book, one of his first books, The Chimp Paradox, I just had that in the forefront of my mind watching her. She's totally let her emotional chimp overpower everything. There was nothing automatic going on. There was nothing that her computer was able to kind of perform, because it was just that she was letting out these really kind of animalistic screams almost, and just couldn't get herself on track. It was sad to watch. But then Ian Wright was sat in front of me, and he turned around and he said, I once watched Serena Williams win in 44 minutes. So he was like, I've got 16 minutes more tennis here. But
and it happens. It's like it's like Bayern Munich put 10 past Auckland, didn't they?
At the very beginning of the Club World Cup.
These things happen. I suppose the other thing with Wimbledon, and I did watch the men's final, and I loved the men's final. I thought it was fantastic. It's not Wimbledon's fault, but they do have 2 champions now with a little asterisk next to them, as Nick Kyrgios tweeted, in that they have both served doping bans.
Yeah, which we've discussed a lot on the podcast, haven't we? And obviously, I saw a sports scientist at the weekend who was heavily involved in nailing Lance Armstrong, talking about Sinner, saying there is absolutely no way that Sinner knew anything about. He said that it was such a tiny, tiny amount, and the reason for that was given for him having any system to do with his physio having it on his hands. He said is totally plausible, and I kind of felt happier listening to somebody who's really been entrenched in chasing drug cheats saying that, because you don't want there to be an asterisk for him, do you? Because he's actually, as much as we love Carlos Alcaraz, he is a really charming, great.
I wanted Sinner to win.
Sport.
I wanted Sinner to win that. Yeah, just because of
Paris.
Yeah, absolutely, because of Paris, and I think everything that he went through in losing that, and how gracious he was afterwards in one of the greatest tennis matches of all time, maybe the greatest tennis match of all time, that to actually go into a final again, if we talk about, psychology and all, it's going to the final again against the defending champion, who's just come back from 2 sets down, to be a breakup in the first set and lose the first set, and then have the mental strength to win the next set. Yeah, I wanted him to win. Plus, centre court, it felt to me, were definitely favouring Alcaraz. So being the obtuse, difficult individual I can be, even though I was sat at home, I was thinking, right, well, I go cheer the other guy on.
I love how actually off the court they're such good friends as well.
Yeah.
And really they are enjoying the rivalry, and we're all going to enjoy it for the next 10 years, hopefully. And funny enough, this feeds into the Euros actually, because England beat Wales 6-1 to reach the quarterfinals. There was a big win as well on the night for France eventually against the Netherlands. And we've had quite a big, Spain have posted some big scorelines. And I know Farrah Williams, who I work with quite a lot on the big tournaments, doesn't want this to be a record scoring tournament, because she wants the scorelines to be, closer. But like you said, you do get big thrashings in World Cups, men's World Cups, don't you? It's not, but it did make me think this morning, is it too soon to be expanding the women's Euros? Because the next Euros is going to have more teams in it. And you think you don't want more of those big thrashings, do you? And Wales are the lowest ranked side in the tournament. So you add another 4 or 8 in.
Yeah. You don't want big thrashings. And also, I think this is a perfect size for the Euros. I think 4 groups of 4 for a Euros is perfect, because the games come thick and fast. There's no convoluted, if you finish in third, one of the 4 best third place finishes. All of that. Yeah. It's simple, as you say. It probably reduces the likelihood of these big scores, because, as we've discussed on the pod before, there are 3 or 4 nations who've had such a head start on other countries, and I'm not sure it's going to take a while.
I'm not sure it brings those teams up. I don't know. If, I think for Wales, obviously, it's been an incredible achievement to get there, and they realised how far away they are from being able to compete at the very end of a tournament, and they'll work on that. But anyway, we are where we are now, which is some cracking quarterfinals, and England accidentally getting themselves on the best side of the draw, really, because the other side of the draw has got Spain, and it's got Germany, and it's got France, and they're there with Sweden, who they are looking very, very good. Sweden. England beat them comprehensively in the last Euros, of course, in the semi-finals, and then it's either one of Norway and Italy from the other.
Have you used all your best lines on Italy, just out of interest?
I did go off air with. I was talking about. I said they passed to the group stage for the first. Yeah.
Have you thought about that a lot in recent days?
I did think about it on the journey home and wondered if I could have resisted it. I also had the Swiss rolling over. I know. It's just, I know I've got to stop amusing myself on telly and just, do things that are for the greater good.
Are you going to keep the word, just so I know, because I'm definite. Well, it might not surprise you to learn. I'm not going to do the word puns on Match of the Day. So, are you? Is that the role you're going to have?
No. On Match of the Day, I'm going to try really hard not to.
Right.
Do you want one of us to keep that going, or are you happy that we all just put it to bed?
It's got to do that. Just going to end each one with, "That's it, Gabby's on tomorrow," or "That's it, Kelly's on next week." Bye.
Yeah, that's it. Gabby's back with the word puns tomorrow night. I don't know. In another life, I probably enjoyed, the old red tops when they had those fantastic front pages. I probably would have enjoyed coming up with headlines for an old fashioned red top. And it kind of appeals to my sense of humour, but I've really got to stop doing it on live sport. That's my New Year's resolution. That's my mid-year resolution.
New season. Right, you can catch up with all episodes of the Sports Agents on YouTube, on Global Player, or wherever you get your podcast. Hit subscribe or follow, leave us a rating or a review.
Next up, after President Trump crashed Chelsea's Club World Cup celebrations, we're going to catch up with Sam Wallace, chief football writer for The Telegraph, who joins us from the States.
Sam Wallace, chief football writer for The Telegraph, joins us. I kind of sort of wonder where to start with this, and yet I bumped into somebody just this morning, and he said to me, "I'm a Chelsea fan, so I'm really happy this morning." And maybe that sums it up. If you have any connections to Chelsea, it's a great morning.
Yes, Mark, I suppose a trophy is a trophy, and it was 81,000 people there last night in the MetLife. I still think we don't quite know what the Club World Cup is. It's sort of been dreamed into existence by one man and one man alone, Gianni Infantino. We don't even know what its future is. We don't even know how often it's going to be played. I mean, we live in very strange times in politics and now in football as well. So I think once we got to the final, it was always going to be a big deal. It was going to be a big teams in it and big names and big players. And obviously Donald Trump was going to be there, which was going to mean that the eyes of the world were on it. But yes, I leave the US not really sure what the value of it is. Some of the football's been quite poor, and obviously the players are exhausted. But it's a FIFA trophy, so it begins and ends with that, I suppose.
But financially, it's also paid for probably two of their signings this summer already. I mean, God knows how the books are done at any football club now, but and
or
it's
half
spread
a women's football club.
Yeah, yes, exactly, yeah, and spread over many years. But it's paid for João Pedro and Gittins as well, hasn't it?
Well, you could also say it's paid for those UEFA fines that they've been given while they've been here. So it's about
taking from Peter to pay Paul. I mean, that's like, has there ever been a better example?
That's 31 million euros up front with another 60 million suspended. So, yeah, it's incredibly disruptive to the ecosystems of domestic leagues because it injects cash into one club or a couple of clubs. I mean, probably the Premier League is the most durable when it comes to that sort of that huge winning pot for one club. But if you think of some of the teams that have been in it and relatively small amounts they'll take home, with the effect that will have on their transfer system, then it's hugely disruptive. So that is a massive factor. Yeah.
Let's park the money for a moment and talk about what we might have learned about what a World Cup will look like in the US next summer, because in many ways for FIFA, I guess it's quite useful. I know that obviously there are going to be games in Canada and Mexico, but it's quite useful to kind of try out things like logistics and see how kind of those stadiums work with football matches in. Do you have any more kind of clue as to, what that World Cup's going to look like? And do you think with the learnings from this last 4 weeks or so, things might change?
Well, the things they can't really change is kickoff times, which is pretty crucial because of that's set in stone with broadcasters. So that's already been published. The schedule as to we don't know which teams, apart from the hosts, they've already been allotted those spots, but we don't know which teams are playing where in terms of next summer.
But you can bet that Spain will not be playing France in Charlotte at 12 o'clock.
Well, they won't because they'll both be seeded. But yeah, I mean, at some point, these things are going to happen. I mean, there are going to be some very, very warm kickoff times. That's not going to change. There's nothing they can do. I mean, Infantino said on Saturday, "Oh well, we've got stadiums with roofs. We might play. We might do that a bit." But it was very vague. I mean, I don't think there's a plan for that because I don't think there's anything they can do to change that one. The dynamic pricing is another big factor. So we've seen it here more. The Ticketmaster partner that FIFA has, the prices go up and down, and they move by the second according to how many people are buying. So that'd be interesting. Mostly here, the story has been about them going down. I mean, you've been able to buy tickets for one. I think Chelsea's quarterfinal were down to about $11 at one point. So that's going to be another big factor. Yeah. There's. I mean, if you want to go, I haven't been to every stadium, obviously, and the Gold Cup has been going on, which is CONCACAF's equivalent of the Euros. At the same time, that's been actually quite poorly attended, and the US men's team lost in the final. They were far behind Mexico, and they didn't get very good crowds. So I think the tickets will sell, but you'll see quite big differences in prices for games, which will be
the stuff that Mark really loves, the entertainment, the razzmatazz, all the bringing the players on individually, giving what did Infantini said he wanted it to be, every game was a Super Bowl. Didn't quite look like a Super Bowl.
No, I don't go along with this I don't know they said sort of 63 Super Bowls for the Club World Cup, or the equivalent for next summer. It's going to be more games, but no, I mean, I think that's a bit of an insult to the Super Bowl. I don't think that's that's realistic at all. One of the funny things about the walk-on, someone said that the tunnel that they come out of is sort of lit with neon lights.
Yeah.
Apparently, it is like sitting in a fan oven at about 220
Brilliant,
degrees.
brilliant. And
It's
player
so
welfare is
hot.
really at the heart of all of this, yeah.
It's so hot out on the pitch, but that tunnel is a roaster. Yeah, because the heat
I
from all the
mean,
lights.
even in the NFL, there's still only one Super Bowl. It's not like every NFL game that you go to has the razzmatazz and the atmosphere of a Super Bowl, and it's unique. You just cannot recreate that because you've got 60 plus years of heritage and culture that has got you to the point where we're at with this. I mean, it's just nonsense. It is just. I don't mind entertainment, but they've
It's
got
forced,
to.
isn't it? It's forced to
Pardon?
kind of it's a
Forced.
forced situation. It just feels like you're trying to make people care about something and trying to make them feel like they've got some golden ticket. But if you're saying, they're down to $11, people aren't coveting this, are they? I'm sure a lot of people just turned up because it was cheap and that, and a chance to kind of see maybe some top class sport. Although we didn't see a lot of top class sport, did we?
Well,
No.
it's hard. I mean, I've been here since the knockout stages, began a little bit at the end of the group stages, so it's difficult for me to judge how it's gone down at home. I know that here they've bought up a lot of advertising space. So on Seventh Avenue, you see the faces of Cole Palmer and Vinicius and Mbappe have been. Those are Nike billboards. They've been quite prominent, and you've seen quite a bit of advertising in terms of taxi digital boards and so on. But um, but no, it's not. Um, it's not grabbed the agenda here. It's just been one of many things in the biggest economy on earth, which are available to people, sort of entertainment wise.
On bringing it back to Chelsea, I do wonder whether this tournament is still a reflection of the season that they had under Maresca, which at times was brilliant, and at times you thought, oh, they are still in development here and still searching for the right formula, and that seems to have been how it's gone through the last 3 or 4 weeks from the bits that I've seen.
I think for Maresca, I think yesterday was a really big moment because I think he got it right tactically. I thought they were brilliant in the first half. He'd obviously spotted something, and it was interesting afterwards. He's not. I wouldn't say he's the most committed manager in press conferences, and that he's got an eye on the clock and he wants to get out. But when he was asked about the tactic, and when he was asked about that, there seems to be a lot of space down PSG's left side, and that's where all the goals came from. He really started talking about it, and I think he was quite happy, as much as managers ever want to sort of toot their own trumpet. He was quite happy to have that praise and to talk about it in a way that he doesn't usually. So I think for him, for Maresca, a club that's been very volatile with lots of different managers under this current ownership, uh, this was a big moment. I think this did him a lot. Did his standing a lot of good. Um, but I mean, other things, signing João Pedro halfway through the tournament. I mean, it seems bizarre that you can do that, but he's had a massive effect. I mean, he's played. He's not played 90 minutes yet, and he's scored 3 goals.
Three,
And
yeah.
even his first game where he didn't score, he really did. He did change it. So um, I do wonder if with him, he looks like a good combination with Palmer because he stretches the play so much.
And it also reflects, I guess, the final reflects what a lot of Chelsea fans would have seen through the season. When Palmer is ticking, when Palmer's playing well, Chelsea play well. And it would probably be good for Palmer to not be relied on all the time to be that person that makes them tick. He has had a lot to kind of do with the fallout of the trophy presentation as well, hasn't he? Because what was kind of read, in fact, for once, footballers weren't kind of putting their hands over their mouths, were they? And you could kind of lip read what they were all saying to each other, which was basically they just all seemed perplexed as to why the president of the United States wasn't moving out of shot. And that in itself kind of almost summed up. That was a microcosm of the whole of this tournament, wasn't it? And I guess that we can probably expect more of next summer. Trump just deciding that he wants to be involved at various stages of the World Cup.
Yeah, I actually thought they handled that really well because it was quite confusing for them, and footballers, if sort of this protocol stuff's normally just taken care of them for them, as you know, these trophy presentations are very well. sort of choreographed, and they moved around quite quickly. But we waited quite a long time for him to come, because he had to come. Trump had to come from one side of the stadium to the other to get to the pitch, and then afterwards, because FIFA insists that the man of the match comes in and does a press conference, so Cole Palmer came in, after the game to a big room, and it's not a. I think he'd be the first to say it's not where he's most comfortable. So Tosin Adarabioyo normally sort of chaperones him, is his friend, and kind of just sort of nudges him and gives him a bit of a bit of sort of reassurance. And I actually thought, being asked about Donald Trump, in the US on his home turf, where it is clearly a very, I say, political issue. I mean, it is that by its very nature, but it's a divisive issue. I thought he handled it well, and that could, you don't want to jostle the president of the United States on a trophy lift.
I
And
think
they
he'll be
made sure
Trump's
that they
favourite
didn't.
player now, won't he? I mean, he will.
Well, we were talking about this. It's amazing, like the first half. I mean, Donald Trump will know who Cole Palmer is. There's no two ways about that. I mean, no one who left that stadium could have thought otherwise.
If you just a final thought, I suppose. If you look, and people can argue about signing a player mid-tournament and the finances and this, that, and the other, and players being knackered and so on and so forth. But Chelsea have got players in early ahead of a new domestic season. They've won this tournament. They aren't now, as far as I'm aware, Sam, you maybe correct me, they aren't doing a pre-season tour anywhere. So now they will have their rest before they get going for the start of the Premier League season. They've sort of reversed their summer in many ways. They've kept the old season going longer and brought in some players, and now they're going to have the rest, and the squad will come back with the new players already partly integrated in it. It'd be interesting to see how that works, because you can spin it that way.
Yeah, so he said all along, Maresca, that they're going to have 3 weeks off. That's not negotiable, but that only gives them 2 weeks preparation going into that first game of the season against Palace. And it's Palace, they're a relentless team. They'll be tuned up definitely for that first day of the season. I don't think we'll really know what this Club World Cup's done to Chelsea and to a lesser extent City until January. I think people will be looking for signs that this is kind of this ticking time bomb that's in there that's going to hit them at some point. And I'm sure if they have a bad run of results or they look a bit flat, that question will come up again. I don't think we'll know
as well.
Absolutely, PSG. I do think with PSG, and I don't wish to cast any aspersions on the French league, but they can
cruise.
They can cruise a little bit, yeah. And really, they're looking at the start of the Champions League in September, so that when they need to be ready.
Yeah, and for Palmer and any other, and players, all players who are playing in the World Cup. But that's interesting as well, isn't it? When you look at what's coming at the end of next season, and that's it's relentless, isn't it? 3 weeks does not seem like a very long time off to be thinking that they, should you make a World Cup final, you'd still be going in another 5 days next year.
Yeah. Well, we talked to Mark Cucurella's been spoken quite a lot when he's been in. I think it was it was 1 day either side of the anniversary of the Euros final against England and Berlin, and I looked at his schedule and he's pretty much played, given with the exception of 3 weeks, he's played everything. I mean, he played the Nations League as well. We have to remember. I mean, he was playing for Spain. He got all the way to the final in the Nations League as well. They had that epic semi-final against France where they won 5-4. So he's just played every sort of 3 or 4 days for 49 weeks.
But also, that's not just the physical side of it, is it? Bearing in mind how demanding a coach Maresca is, for example, on the small details. This is mental and physical, and this is right. We finish one game, it's the recovery, prepare for the next one, but that will involve clips and team. I know it's an amazing job that they've got. I'm just putting it into context, but team meetings and clips and analysis and training sessions and shape and etc. etc. It is a treadmill, a hamster wheel for them in those 3 or 4 days. It's not just the 90 minutes of playing, is it?
No, I mean we race them very hard. Not only that, we move them around the country and Europe all the time. They are, yes, they are assets and they're well looked after. But I think ever more there is this notion with players, especially the extent that Chelsea trade players. I mean, it does feel like everyone's got a price. I think that a player looks upon his career now. I think 7 or 8 really good years. my peak earning years, where I'm going to be, I basically have to sacrifice everything, and it's hard to stay at the top. I mean, look at this Chelsea team; it's very, very young, and I think the peak years of a player are coming forward all the time. I think when we used to think of 26, 27, I'm wondering if that's starting to shift forward now.
It's funny because we were
Because of
kind
the
of
schedule.
talking 10 years ago about players playing longer if they looked after themselves. You know, I know there's some outliers, some exceptions in the likes of Ryan Giggs, you know, and players who seem to really kind of embrace things like yoga and ice baths as early adopters. But it's interesting if it's going the other way with competitions like this, and also the need to keep touring post-season to places, you know, that they obviously have huge brand deals with countries where they've got huge sponsors. You are running the risk, aren't you, of running your assets down early?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think with the vast numbers of not vast numbers, the almost majority state number of American owners in the Premier League, that the whole shift is changing. I mean, when you come here, you see loads of Chelsea shirts in Manhattan, just like you saw lots of City shirts where they were playing. And these are fans who wear vintage shirts, who wear, you know, old sort of shirts from the 90s and 2000s. They've clearly bought, you know, on eBay, and they are knowledgeable about a team. Whether they've ever been to Stamford Bridge or the Etihad, you know, is another question. But fandom is changing, and they see them. They see themselves as no less relevant than. And I know a lot of football fans will bridle at this than those who have season tickets at Premier League games. And more importantly, for those who own the clubs, they are. You know, they're ready to buy stuff. They're ready to buy tickets. They're ready to buy merchandise. So to seal that relationship, to be able to see the players playing competitive games in person, is quite a big deal. I did a vox pop of like City fans for a piece outside, just outside the stadium in Orlando, before the Al Hilal game. And it's amazing how far some of them have come. They come from Canada, they come from Wyoming, and Americans consider travel differently. They're not you know, jumping on a plane and going at 1,200 miles is not a big deal for them. But it did show to me that there is, I couldn't guess at the size, but there is quite a committed fan base here, and it does feel like if we can provide the games, they will come. But you know, for us in the UK, that's quite a big sacrifice.
Did you do those vox pops yourself? Do you not have someone to do those for you? I just thought you.
Mark, do you know what? When I was a trainee, that's all I ever did.
Oh
25
yeah.
years ago.
Oh, I used to
Vox
dread
pops.
them. Oh
Oh yeah, I mean, it was a way of kind of breaking you. I always felt
yeah,
like as a young journalist, you're not confident enough, right? Go out and stop people in the street,
yeah.
and it's good. It works. I tell you, it works.
It's
Many,
You know,
actually
many,
just brought
many
me
a
out in a
career built
cold
on Vox
sweat.
Pops.
yeah,
Oh God.
yeah.
It did make me think when you were talking there, Sam. I don't know about you, Mark, that Premier League fixture that will take place stateside is not far away, and we
No,
can't
it's
be far,
coming.
can we? From that happening.
We've got no evidence on that, bar a gut
No,
feeling.
we
Mm.
just
But
it just
it
comes
is.
up.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
It's not gone
Yeah, the
away, has
interesting
it?
thing will be no, it'll never go away. The interesting will be how they sell it. I mean, if it ever actually happens, they're going to have to, because all the sort of screw ups that have happened over the years, like Super League and 39th game, it's all been in the presentation. It eventually, I imagine this will happen, but it's how they broach the subject with their core support in the UK and what they know will be a huge backlash in the media and among fans. One of the things I noticed here, I'm sure I know you're a big American sports fan, Mark, but in Manhattan, so the NBA and the MLB, I presume the NFL too, but I haven't seen it, have their own sort of superstores, and they're just these sort of incredible kind of shrines to commercialism. So
Yeah,
you go into the baseball one, and you can literally buy anything, every team, every kind of cap, every kind of shirt. They've got kid stuff,
yeah.
women, you know, especially made, like, designed for women. They've got equipment, and people are in there spending a fortune. I mean, these are like prime real estate locations, but they're packed, absolutely packed, full of tourists. And if you want to buy an Oakland A's, or you just want the classic New York Yankees, or someone more obscure, it's all there. And
Well, that the
I'd be fascinated to
merchandise,
see if the Premier League do that.
but the merchandise is the key to so many things within American sports. So uh, players, you know, they obviously keep a tally to the NFL on who sells the most jerseys, which player. If you change your shirt number, you actually have to buy the shirts with your old number so that people aren't out like the remaining stock before you then go to the new number. Take golf. One of the reasons, if you go to the Masters, that all the food and drink is so reasonably priced at the Masters is because people go there and spend the most ridiculous amount of money on merchandise. The merchandise queues are huge at the Masters. American sport is built on buying shirts, caps, badges,
Premier League
all
store
of
on
that.
Fifth Avenue coming soon.
Yeah. Why not? There will
I
be.
mean,
sure.
why not? Why not? So here's a question for you, Mark. I did not know that about the number, and that is fascinating. So what I went to a Yankees game, and someone explained to me that the Yankees are the only team that don't. Well, I think the Red Sox as well. They don't have their names on their shirts, so they just have their numbers.
Right.
So you can buy shirts with like Aaron Judge's name on, but generally you just buy his. If you're a true sort of fan, so okay, What would happen then? So because the players then don't actually sell their shirts with their names on, they just
Yeah,
sell
I
them
don't
as
know
their
how it
number.
works in baseball, but that's in NFL. And also, if
Right.
you go to a team in the NFL and somebody's got your number and you want that number, you have to buy it off you have to offer money to your teammate to take that number. Now, often I think that teammate then puts it to charity, I think. But that's the case. If you go somewhere and you've always worn, I don't know, number 3 as a quarterback and you still want that number, you would have to pay somebody who has the number 3. It's a massive thing in NFL.
That would have said someone had to give up number 7 when Ronaldo came back to United, didn't they? I'm trying to remember who it was, but maybe was it vacant? Was it vacant? I can't remember. But anyway, yeah.
So Cole Palmer's got
these
10 now. So if Cole Palmer had
Yes.
wanted 10 off Mudryk, forget the Mudryk circumstances, then normally if that was the NFL, he'd have had to have given him some money. Anyway, I've gone off at a tangent. Gabby looks like she's about to nod off at this point.
I'm glad you two have had a lovely chat.
Yeah.
Thanks, Sam. I think it's probably quite early there, so you're probably due to go and get a pile of pancakes or something, and or some waffles. I'm being a little bit stereotypical there, aren't
Ice bath.
An ice bath.
Well,
yeah.
In this hotel, I think it'll probably be something. It'll probably
Bit more
sort of a
sophisticated.
Kia bowl or something like that.
Oh,
Something,
okay,
or,
okay.
yeah, something.
Yeah, the Telegraph has got different budgets to the BBC when we travel. Hey, Mark.
Yeah,
we're lucky to get a fried egg.
Yeah, one waffle and a fried egg, and you'll be happy with it.
See you soon. Thank you so much, Sam.
Cheers, Sam. We'll talk Wimbledon next and be joined by Britain's men's doubles champions, Julian Cash and Lloyd Glasspool.
Well, I'm delighted to say a piece of history was made at the weekend. We had the first all-British pair in the men's doubles to win in 89 years. And we've got them on the podcast now, Julian Cash and Lloyd Glasspool. Congratulations. This is the Monday morning. It feels like after the night before, a champions dinner last night. A little bit jaded, Lloyd?
Yeah, I mean, as you can probably tell from my voice, I'm struggling. I was actually a little ill before the final and semi, so I was going to sound like this anyway. This isn't all from just self-destruction. But yeah, we had a great few nights. Champions dinner last night to icing on the cake, and yeah, it's been amazing.
We talked earlier in the pod that I was at Oasis on Saturday night in Manchester. You both look and feel like I did on Sunday morning at the moment, I would say. But you've got to celebrate it, haven't you, Julian?
Yeah, because it's supersonic,
definitely.
Julian. Sorry.
Oh, don't do your supersonic again, Gabby. Crikey. Oh, God, Julian.
No, for sure. I mean, so many of the times that when you pick up a trophy, you're on the road and you're off traveling to the next week before you know it. So to win a title at home and have so many friends and family around, it's definitely one of the special ones, and it's the time to celebrate for sure.
I couldn't believe it was 89 years when I heard that. So you two haven't actually been together for very long, have you? How does the relationship kind of get together? How did you two decide to go for it?
It's only been 9 months after the US Open. Me and my partner split after Wimbledon, so I was kind of floating. I didn't have anyone. Jules was, I think, coming to the end of his partnership after the US swing, and yeah, I think we just both liked each other's game styles. We knew each other from both being British, both playing under the Louis system, and yeah, I thought we kind of saw our games matching pretty well and seeing a bright future for ourselves. So we gave it a little try, and second tournament in, we won the tournament. So it's kind of been pretty up since the start.
So who reaches out to who then? How does it work, Julian?
I mean, it depends, but for us, as Lloyd said, I mean, we've known each other for a long time. We've trained together for a long time. We've got the same coach. So there was a lot of things that aligned there. Obviously, Lloyd was floating around, and yeah, my partnership was coming to an end. So we kind of spoke about the possibility of playing, and I suppose had a little trial period at the end of last year, and yeah, we got off to a good start. So it seemed a no-brainer to keep it going.
There've been, in the last 3 years, there've been British men involved in the men's doubles final and winning. And so there's been success, but not obviously with two British men. And so on that basis, you would think there would be more coverage maybe of doubles. And I know you, Jules, feel like there should be a lot more coverage of the doubles. And we do seem to only get interested, don't we, when there's British, when British men are involved or British women are involved. How do you think we can or tennis can push doubles forwards a little bit?
Yeah, I definitely think it's a shame. Someone was asking me the other day about like why kids don't play doubles and things like that, and I think a lot of that is to do because it doesn't get the coverage. So when you're a kid, there is kind of no doubles to aspire to. It's always singles, and that's where everyone starts. And then the coaches do the same thing; they always coach singles first. I actually don't think it would be a bad thing at all to coach some of the doubles kind of skills as a young kid. A lot of that's very useful on the singles court. It's a very fast game, and I think a lot of the attributes that go well into doubles serve you well in having a long career. But I think the main thing for me is to get people's personalities out. There's so many nice people, there's interesting characters. There's obviously, I think most club tennis is doubles. So there's definitely interest there. And as you saw through this week, we played on court one and then centre court on Thursday and then Saturday. Both of them were full. The crowd was loving it. So the interest is there. I think it's just important to try and give it the publicity and try and give the players themselves kind of that spotlight to shine.
So are kids playing doubles now or not? I mean, when you were both growing up, were you playing doubles? I mean, if I go back to the 80s and 90s, when I was playing tennis as a junior, it was against other clubs. We always played mixed doubles. That was how it worked for us as kids. I think we both played the singles, and then we played a mixed doubles. So is that not happening now for kids?
I just think that there's not really much focus on it. Like, I don't
Right.
think any kid really is dreaming of being a doubles professional. I don't think they're aware that it's really a possibility, first of all. And yeah, they're definitely playing doubles, but I wouldn't say it's coached. They're just showing up on a doubles court and trying to use the coaching
Maybe
that they've had from singles.
when they know, Lloyd, that you can take £680,000 prize money away, it might start to kind of appeal a little bit more. And that's not to be sniffed at, is it? So, you can make a very good living as a doubles player if it goes well.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, as George said, I think because it doesn't get any marketing, any TV, people just don't really know that's a career path. I know I actually did play a lot of doubles as well growing up, and looking back, it's probably actually one of the things I really enjoyed more just from the social aspects. I was probably quite good at it as well, but I wasn't focusing on that. Yeah, and it's definitely something they can push more kids doing. You can get more people on the court. Yeah, I just don't understand the whole thing right from the top, honestly.
You're going to buy a motorbike, Jules. Is that right?
Well, I think Lloyd's trying to throw me under the bus. I have a motorbike already, and I was looking at some new ones, but I mean, I'm not sure I'm going to pull the trigger. I was just having a browse.
Okay. And Lloyd, you're paying off some of your mortgage.
Well, yeah, I'm just hoping to complete on a house on Friday, so
Okay.
I
So
probably should have postponed it a little bit so I can put a bit more down. But it's a good problem to have, put it like that.
Yeah, it is.
How does, for you two now, how does this pan out between now and the rest of it? How does your calendar look compared to, say, a singles player's calendar? Are they similar? Do you have less? Do you go to different places? How does it work?
I think for the most part it's similar. It obviously depends where you're at in the ranking. So this is kind of my first year really playing on like in all of the main events, and I'd include basically the Masters in that. Um, and so then your schedule can kind of be a little bit shorter. On your way up, you're playing every single week. You're chasing points, chasing money. You don't really have much choice in your schedule at all. But the further up you get, you do kind of get a little bit of choice. You get some freedom to pick the weeks. But every week we play is the same as the singles. There's a singles draw and a doubles draw at the same venues every single week. The singles guys can enter on their singles ranking and play against us. So often you get some fun matchups there.
Right.
But yeah, I would say in general probably the doubles guys do play a little bit more than the top
So
singles
you
guys.
don't play any singles really
No.
through the year now? No. And when did you stop playing singles?
I stopped in 2022. I had a lot of I was at American University, finished at 21, had a lot of injuries. Then there was COVID as well. And just as I was kind of starting to play a little bit, I was fortunate to get some wild cards over the grass season in some of the smaller events. Did well there and had set myself up to play some tournaments that I wasn't able to play in singles at the time. And so for me at that point, it was kind of a no-brainer to switch across.
How does it work for things like Davis Cup going forward then, Lloyd? Can you go into a Davis Cup as an actual duo and the singles guys just do the singles? How does that work?
It's a great question. It can work any way they want, really.
Right.
I think personally it would work better if you do have a set team. Everyone has their roles going into it, and you have, look, this is the doubles team, these are the singles guys. And obviously that can change last second with the guys that you've got there, but we haven't in the past had two Brits playing together all year round that can make a steady team and show that they're ready to be better than Jack Draper and whoever he wants to play with or something. So I think we're in a good position. I think, Neil and Joe are doing the same. They're also a great option. You've obviously got Henry, he can pair with anyone. We're in a lucky situation right now where we can choose many people. But as you said, I think having that set doubles team and then the singles guys, look, it's your job, go win the singles. We've got a doubles team. You guys, everyone can get behind each other, know our roles a bit better this year. I think we're in with a good shot, but you never know what the captain can do. He can choose any format, any system he wants, yeah.
Jules, you once were a body double for Novak Djokovic, I understand, on an advert in New Zealand for the Bank of Australia and New Zealand. And looking at you now, I can see obviously why you got cast. I don't know whether your strokes are identical or not, but as does he know?
They're a bit nicer, mine.
Does he know that you won Wimbledon yesterday? I mean, did you see him around on the Orangi courts or anything?
No, I don't think he has any idea who I am. No, I mean, I was struggling for cash at the time, so it seemed like a good option. They paid me far too much money to do not a lot. So I dread to know what he got paid for that shoot. But yeah, I mean, it was a fun experience. I met him. I was quite a bit younger then. Yeah, and I think they only used about one long shot of me walking out of a car for the whole commercial.
Really?
So, yeah.
I mean, if you, Gabby, if people are watching this on YouTube, Lloyd's got a little bit of the James Haskell about him. So theoretically, if people are looking at YouTube, you've got Novak Djokovic, James Haskell, and Lee Mack all on the same call. So there you go. Yeah.
Lloyd, I'm not sure whether that's a compliment or not. Actually, I'm not.
It's
I'm
more
not
of a
sure.
compliment than Lee Mack. Bloody hell!
That's true.
In terms of the men's singles, did you watch the final? Do you pay much interest in what's going on there?
I was sleeping, that's for sure. I woke up sporadically when the dogs woke me up, and I did check the score. But other than that, I was not locked into this year's final.
Does your body double, do you think, have a chance of breaking into this duopoly that seems to be dominating now, this new era, Jules?
I think it would be tough for him to consistently do it, but I think any week that comes around, he's always in contention. You can kind of feel it in the locker room. Guys definitely still fear him. I mean, maybe not as much as they used to, but he's not a guy that anyone wants to play. And I also think as his seeding slips down, He might even start playing these guys in some earlier rounds, which actually I almost think favours Novak. When you start playing in the semis, people are in form and they're kind of start having, I guess, less to lose. But I don't know, if Sinner plays Novak third, fourth round, I think that could be very interesting. And certainly in the slams, I think he'll always have a chance.
Well, that's all we've got time for today. Get in touch via email at thesportsagents@global.com or on socials.
Catch up with all of our episodes on YouTube, Global Player, or wherever you get your podcasts. Remember to hit subscribe or follow.
We'll be back on Thursday, and I'll be coming to you from Zurich. See you then.
I thought you were going to do another pun there to finish.
Oh, I don't know. No.
The Sports Agents
with Gabby Logan and Mark Chapman.